Okay, here we go. So welcome everyone to the Catalyst School. This is the presentation for proposers. Hopefully you're all here for that. This is a project to help people onboard and explain generally Catalyst to new people, as well as explain the various aspects of Catalyst. We're in partnership with the Catalyst program. We're funded by them. Eastern Town Hall, Catalyst Swarm, WADA, which is the West Africa ADA group, Cardano AIM, which I'm a member of, and Gimba Labs. So the Catalyst School, this is the place you come to learn about things. I don't know whether you guys have been to a Catalyst school before, or whether you're first-time proposers or been lurkers. Maybe anyone want to kind of give feedback about where you're up to in the, like, are you new to the community? Are you been lurking around, new proposer? Anyone want to?
I'll go first then, Phil. My name is Ben Goldie. I'm a brand new proposer. I work for NuFi, a multi-chain wallet from the team behind Adalite. Okay. So we've integrated Cardano, Solana, and Flow blockchains. It's our first time proposing for Catalyst funding, so I'm here to learn as much as I can. Okay, fantastic. Anyone else want to give a quick introduction, whether they've been lurking around or brand new to the community?
Hi, this is Gabrielle. I work in the EOS.io community at the moment, been in blockchain industry since 2017. Professionally, I do product management and marketing. Got in contact with Dan Kimball fairly recently, who works in the Cardano ecosystem, and he and I share a lot of affinity with ideas about marketplace, DAO, DeFi, and stuff, kind of currency directions. So I'm here just to understand and learn and see if this might be a relevant kind of area for me to play in. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome. Anyone else want to share where they're up to? Just to get a gauge of the room. No? Yes? No? New proposers, Nathan saying. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, the Catalyst School is designed to help you onboard and orientate yourself in this complex place we find ourselves, but very exciting and very engaging, and very welcoming as well. So the Catalyst School provides live sessions and workshops like this one you're currently attending. It's also funded to give one-on-one multi-language support. I believe there's some ongoing in Indonesian at the moment. Somebody asked for a one-on-one session in Indonesian. We're currently building out the website, so we're launching a new website pretty soon, hopefully, and filling that out, and generally introducing you to Catalyst and the roles in Catalyst. All right, so what is Project Catalyst? Project Catalyst is Cardano's experimentation with creating governance. So it's actually set up to help distribute the funds and to experiment with governance. So the funds are from the Cardano treasury, which we'll get to in a second. So it's a place to bring your ideas, to share them, and to obtain community support and funding for your ideas. Many people when they first come to the community wonder where the funds actually come from, and this is a very simplified explanation of that. The idea is that they come from oh, hang on, there's a few people coming in. Every time there's a transaction on the Cardano blockchain, there's a small transaction fee. It's usually around 0.17 ADA, but it can be a few more than that sometimes. And a small portion of that gets fed into this Catalyst reserves, and that gets fed into the Catalyst treasury. There's also the monetary inflation that comes every epoch, and some of those funds are also fed into the treasury. And then this treasury goes to the funded proposers. Of course, the complex situation is that also funds get sent to the delegators in the stake pool operators. If you're interested in exploring that further, there's plenty of information around. So how are the funds allocated in Catalyst? There's a funding round. These are kind of set by the community at the moment, set by IOHK, and just recently they were changed to 3 funding rounds a year. Before they were 4, and before that there was an experiment with 8 a year, but it was too chaotic, and generally the community got burnt out from participating in that way. So at the moment they're currently experimenting with running 3 funds a year, which means every 4 months. Inside a fund, there are challenges, and these challenges are set by the community. These are also voted on proposals for setting the challenges in the next fund. This is how governance operates in Catalyst, so that fund to fund, the community can participate in setting challenges and voting on challenges, and therefore working out the direction of the project in the coming fund. So you'll find that all the challenges that are currently in Fund 9 were voted on in Fund 8. Within those challenges, people like yourself will put forward a proposal for funding. These then are developed over the coming weeks with input from the community and from input for yourselves. And then they are voted on by the ADA holders. So this is the process of how the funds are allocated. So here we have the ideation process. Now, this is not quite how the process works, but this is kind of how the process is intended to work. We've just finished the insight sharing stage of the process, which was started last Thursday and ended a few hours ago. And this is the opportunity. Sorry, there's a few more people coming in. This is the opportunity for the community to discuss the challenges as they are written and to start putting insights and ideas into how people might solve the problems that are presented. Currently with the ideation platform, which is IdeaScale, it doesn't quite work this way. But hopefully as time goes on, we can head towards this structure. Once that process is done, basically, if you want to make a proposal, you are presenting a problem that you've identified and a solution that you've identified to that problem. A bit later on, we'll go into, we'll open up the IdeaScale platform and have a look at that a little bit in more detail. So IdeaScale, like I just mentioned, is the platform which we use to submit proposals, edit proposals. It's also the platform. We can probably actually open it up right now since I've got it here. So let's pop that open. Hopefully you can. Yeah, so this is the IdeaScale website. The URL is cardano.ideascale.com. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you. What's going to happen? I think they still haven't quite opened it up. It was meant to open up a few hours ago, but I've heard there's just a few hiccups getting things set up. But later today sometime, these will be open, and these are the active campaigns. So all of these campaigns were voted on in previous funds. And if you're choosing to participate in Fund 9, these are the challenge areas of this fund that you'll be participating in. And you'll notice down here, this is what I mentioned before. This is the Fund 9, Fund 10 challenge setting. So if you have a direction that you think the community and Cardano and Catalyst should go, this is where you'd put a proposal, not for funding for yourself, but to appear to be a funding focus next fund, which all these were added in Fund 8. What you would do is, if you wanted to submit in one challenge, here, instead of subscribe in a few hours or a few minutes, depending on how long it takes, there'll be a submit an idea. And once you open that up, it'll bring up a window that you can submit things in. So we'll just go back to this. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at you as the proposer. We're all participating, if we choose to be a proposer, in Project Catalyst. This is the Cardano Project Catalyst. There was a few funds ago, and the reason why it's called Cardano Project Catalyst is because I can't remember who it was. It's just slipped my mind, but there was actually another native token. Maybe someone can remind me what it was. The people who are developing the JED platform. It's completely slipped my mind, but they offered 100,000 of their own native tokens. And Coddy, yeah, thank you very much. So Coddy ran their own challenge a few funds ago and used the Catalyst platform to encourage people to participate in a certain way with their sidechain in order to develop things that they were looking to achieve. And that was an experiment, like this whole thing is in expanding. So no new native token has come forward to operate yet on this, but it sort of paved the way to let others do so if they so choose. So the process then is that as a proposer, you can articulate a problem. This might be a problem that you've articulated or someone else has articulated, meaning that they've actually expressed that there is a problem. And then you as the proposer are putting forward a solution to that problem. There's another person coming in, here we go. And then once you've understood the problem and understood the solution, you can then submit your proposal and give details about the problem, about the solution, and about how you're going to execute that process. Yes, there's a question. Jimenez?
So with the problem, you mean it's this description of the challenge, right? Or is within every challenge several problems? Or the problem is the same as the challenge, right?
So the challenge is a focus point, and then you will come up with a problem to be in line with that challenge. We'll get to that shortly, but pretty much we'll go and read a challenge, and then we can have a look at what a problem might look like there. Okay, so as I pointed out before, this is the iteration process. There's an insight, there's a proposal submission, then there's an opportunity to refine it and finalize. Now, these in previous funds were individual weeks, and once 1 week closed, you no longer had access to your submission of a proposal. But starting last fund, the entire 3-week proposal period is now open for submission. And of course, you can edit or remove or withdraw your proposal. So as it does open up today. It should have opened up already, but it will be opened up later today. And you'll be able to submit any time between now and in 3 weeks' time. And you'll be the proposals are open the entire 3 weeks. After this, there's a period of quality assurance. So the roles have now been changed, actually. So this is no longer a VCA. This is now a PA. There was a role, it's essentially the same task still, but there was a role called a community advisor, which you might hear around the place. This has been renamed to be a proposal assessor, because that's more in line with actually what that role entails. So what will happen is there'll be, once you've submitted your proposal and there's a close date for no longer editing your proposal and no longer getting community input into that, there is a group of people of which you can also sign up for, and there's school courses to take you through that if you're interested. But they will go through a process of actually checking proposals against a set of criteria, and we'll get to those criteria shortly. After that process, there's a period of a few days. It's changed. It might be about a week, 5 days, something like that, for you as proposers to actually come and feedback on those assessments. So if you think that they've unfairly assessed you, that's your opportunity to flag it and provide feedback as to why you believe it's an unfair assessment. After that process, there's a group of veteran community advisors, formerly now veteran proposal assessors, and they will go through the assessments and check to see whether they're in line with the guidelines, which means they're good. They have an excellent assessment of the proposal according to the guidelines, or should not be counted towards being an actual assessment. Say, like someone's written nonsense or personally attacked the proposer or something like that. That's kind of like a quality assurance of the quality assurance, let's say. So just remember that if you are a proposer, that there is that moment that you do get an opportunity. It's quite a short window to feed back into the situation, into the process, and you'll get an email about that. So I should probably explain what the proposal assessor, that their assessment actually goes into the voting app and can be seen by voters. So it's kind of like a review, like an Amazon review or something like that with a star rating. And then after that, there's the community vote. So there's a bit of a process for that to happen. And maybe some of you have voted in the past. And if you haven't, there is a voter course and information for more detail about how to actually participate as a voter. I can cover off on a bit more details about voting in the Q&A if people are interested in that. Okay, so now we look at the actual process of more details about proposing. Part of the experiment of Project Catalyst is that we're all here to explore the highest potential of human collaboration. So you can keep that in mind. If you're a proposer and you can find partnerships or co-proposers or merging projects into a bigger project because that someone's got skills that you're missing, keep that in mind. We are here to collaborate with each other and really explore and experiment what's possible. Okay. So the components of a proposal. So these are the actual, when you come to make a proposal, these are things that you will actually need in your proposal. I mentioned the problem statement. So this is basically a short explanation about what problem you are trying to solve in relation to the challenge. This problem might have been written by yourself, or you might have obtained it from somewhere else, but you're choosing to solve this problem. Most proposals these days are writing their own problem statement. But I think in the future that might expand out where you can pick a problem statement from somewhere else. This is a short tweet length or old tweet length of 130 characters. So keep that in mind. Same with the solution statement. This is also a very small snapshot of what you're offering. And the importance of this is that, one, it means that you need to be very clear about what you see as the problem and what you're going to deliver for that. And this appears to the voters as a primary decision-making mechanism. They can, of course, dig into the details should they wish to, but there was over 1,000 proposals, or near 1,000 proposals last fund. So some voters obviously won't dig as deeply. So it's very important that you spend quality time making good quality problem and solution statements. After that, inside the submission form, you will have a section for details. Some funds ago, it used to just be details. It's since been separated into impact, feasibility, and auditability. And we'll go into those shortly. So here's a bit more information about the problem statement. I'll just read these out because they're kind of important. This is the first thing the community sees about your proposal. It's approximately the length of a tweet, so 100 old tweet. Not the new tweets, I think 240 characters. It has to be a clear, concise consideration of the problem, and it goes a long way to having a quality proposal. It must communicate the problem you intend to address. It's best written as a statement. Some people do write it as a question, but it is meant to be a statement, but no one's going to mark you down for doing that. And as I said, it's seen by the voter app, and you can ask yourself, why is this a problem? And look to make a statement about that. Here's just a quick example. A poor example is there are many new proposers in Catalyst like yourselves. That's not a very good statement, but a good one might be new proposers in Catalyst have nowhere to go for support. But here we are at the school. So this might have been a statement from, say, a proposal from the school. Okay, so this is the solution statement. Again, same thing. This is the second thing the community sees about your proposal. Pretty much similar things. And here you can ask yourself, have I offered a solution? All right, there is another section here that asks you relevant experience. This is also, I think this is longer, 240 characters, but this is meant to be a place for you to just briefly explain why you're suitable to solve this problem. There's more space below in the details, so it's meant to just capture who you are or who your team is, so that people can get a feel of if they think you're actually suitable. And as I mentioned before, you can explore how to add new people to your team if you're missing relevant experience. So you don't have to be the implementer or be the only implementer of your problem. You can definitely find a team to do it for you, and you can put that into the team that I have this experience and I'm going to be looking for these people to because I've identified that these are the people that are needed to solve this problem. And in order to find these people, you can get involved with various parts of the community. If you're not aware, there's a weekly town hall where the community meets to get updates in news, and an after town hall where they meet straight afterwards to participate in discussions of all sorts, which is an open forum for people to host and participate. So feel free to join us in the town hall, and feel free to look to host or participate in the after town hall. There's the link to the Catalyst School, so there's a bunch of resources available there, and there's also details about the swarm. Okay, so more details about the details. So the first thing that you'd have to explore is the impact. So the impact section of your proposal contains the details of how your project will impact the Cardano ecosystem. You'll have reference, and this was answering your question from before. So it will have reference back to the specific challenge that the proposed solution is addressing. And as I said, we'll look at a challenge in a minute to have a look at this. And the community will also be checking and looking to see if your project can scale to address future challenges. These are actually specific questions. These were drafted, so I'm not sure we know exactly if they're going to be in there, but they probably should be. But pretty much under impact, you'll be looking to describe your proposed solution, and that could be however you wish to do that. It could be illustrative with diagrams and things, or links to videos if you want, or written content. Describe how your proposed solution will address the challenge. So again, that's the reference back to the challenge. And there's going to be a question around risk, and it might be worded this way: identify at least 2 risks that could prevent you from succeeding, and explain how you might mitigate each one. Yes, you've got a question.
I have a question about the impact on the Cardano ecosystem.
Yes.
I think that is, from my understanding, very, very narrow, right? And I think this is also not the idea of Cardano, right? I mean, if I create a dApp, right, and users are using it, the best way of using is that they even don't notice it's a blockchain application, right? That it's basically solving a problem in the real life, right? If it's blockchain based or not, who cares, right? So I don't, like if I say how's the impact in the Cardano ecosystem, of course, the more usage Cardano gets as a dApp because it's useful, the better it is as an ecosystem, right? But for people in the real life, solving a problem for them, if they don't see themselves maybe part of the Cardano ecosystem, right? So where do I address this?
Well, I guess
if I want to address climate change, right? I want to have a good impact on CO2 reduction, let's say. This has nothing to do with the Cardano ecosystem in a narrow sense, right?
Well, if you're proposing to organize a group that goes and builds a ship to collect rubbish from the sea, that's a great problem and some solution to that. But if there's no reference back to the Cardano ecosystem, then it's difficult to agree that you're going to be able to get funding from the Cardano community at this point.
I totally get your point. And I said, of course, there must be a linkage to Cardano, right?
Yes.
So you must use the blockchain, right?
Yes.
But using the blockchain is not the same as impacting the Cardano ecosystem. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, yeah. But basically if you're using the blockchain, that's where the impact is, right? That it doesn't have to change the Cardano ecosystem. It doesn't have to, it doesn't even have to use the Cardano ecosystem necessarily. It can be, it could develop a community associated with the Cardano ecosystem or something, right?
Right.
Yes.
But any use case which is in some way good, right? And it's built on Cardano. I mean, it's always benefiting. I mean, like it's kind of a little bit. I don't know, it makes sense. If you build something on Cardano and people use it, it's always beneficial, right?
Yes.
There's always going to be good impact. So it's.
I mean, I wrote these, so probably it needs to be changed to just say has a nexus with the Cardano ecosystem rather than an impact.
Right.
So that it's probably just the wording that I've put in there.
Because I think the most interesting point is actually how my solution is impacting the people who are using this, right? And not so much on that, oh my God, people use more ADA because they need to use this app, and so the ADA price is going up, right? That's not what Catalyst is about, right?
Yeah, nothing to do with ADA price, nothing. And I guess the Cardano ecosystem, if you're solving part of the climate crisis, then that's part of the Cardano ecosystem. Right.
Wow,
so
that's a very big definition of who is part of the Cardano ecosystem. So planet Earth is part of the Cardano ecosystem. Oh, I mean, like.
Yeah, okay, look, it could be reworded slightly different, but the idea is that your proposal has some sort of connection with the Cardano ecosystem. It doesn't have to be, looking to change ADA price at all. That's got nothing to do with it. But the Cardano ecosystem is the ecosystem in which we're operating in. So it's not like you're not using the Ethereum blockchain to solve something, basically, right? You're in the community of Cardano. You're looking to use Cardano and its associated blockchain or community, and that's what we're here for. Yeah. Fair enough. Yep. Nana?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So I just want to say something something small in addition to what you said already concerning what's the name? Concerning the question that Jeremiah just asked. So just as Charles always used to say that Cardano is all about, you know, building a platform that will make the world a better place for all.
Yes.
So you can take it out from that scenario and then frame something that will be able to link your proposal to the main goals of Cardano, basically. So for instance, if you're talking about CO2, and then you're looking to, let's say, build a platform that will help people provide information on CO2, whatever, like, I don't know how you put it, but whichever way you do it, you can look at the impact that the people are going to get. And if these people are getting the impact, so first of all, where is this platform coming from, basically, you know, you can ask that question. That platform is a platform that was being sponsored or, let's say, funded by Cardano. So indirectly, it adds a value to Cardano because anybody who gets to use that particular platform gets to know that this was funded by Cardano and Cardano is actually doing a very good job. And then also they get to learn more about Cardano, which adds to the adoption rate of Cardano, basically. So whatever you do, you can still find ways and means of linking it to linking the proposal, addressing, or let me say, adding an impact to the Cardano ecosystem, because at the end of the day, we want to scale up to the extent that, okay, we have a lot of people who have adopted, who are actually building on Cardano, basically. Because for all you know, whoever chances on your project and gets to know that it is being funded by Cardano may become part of the community and may even be building greater projects that also adds to the scaling up of Cardano, basically. So you can find ways and means of linking these two things from that side. You have to look it through and you're good. Yeah,
for sure. Marketing and onboarding and this sorts of thing are definitely worthwhile. So totally, yeah. But again, it's going to come back down to the challenge that's there, right? So if there's a challenge and it says, how do we onboard new people into the Cardano ecosystem, and you're proposing a CO2 platform that promotes Cardano and that's funded by Cardano, there's definitely a nexus there. Whether the community votes for that proposal will be up to them, and you can put any proposal in, and some proposals have been funded without a huge nexus, but the idea, the intention is that there is a nexus with the Cardano ecosystem, whether that be onboarding or use of the blockchain or building communities. I mean, there used to be building community hubs that there's no reference to blockchain there, but the Cardano ecosystem is the broader community and people who are aware of ADA, right, and Cardano. And Catalyst in general. So
so there's a good example, right? So let's say I'm building a DeFi app targeting Africa and want to reduce poverty, right? I mean, do I still have to, of course, when I'm building a dApp on Cardano, of course it's benefiting the ecosystem, it's obvious, right? So do I waste the length of the words which I have on describing on how another DeFi dApp is helping Cardano, or on how this dApp helps to reduce poverty, right? What should I focus here? That's a question.
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer what you choose to focus on, because it depends on what the community.
Right. Let's say it's a DeFi dApp, right, with some wallet savings, something like this, right? So, you know, like targeting the unbanked people. Let's say this, right? It's a dApp built on Cardano, targeting the unbanked people, some banking features on this dApp, right? So and for this section, now do I explain on how this step will create more value for the Cardano ecosystem because I'm going to onboard other people and all that, or will I portray rather on how this step is going to help those people because of this logic and because now they can save and then they can do this and this, which has nothing to do now with Cardano, which is impacting their life, right?
I'd focus on your impact, on the broader impact that your project wants to do.
Right. Okay.
But I would make sure that you have the nexus. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's the only thing.
But it's a given, right? Basically,
yeah.
You don't have to explain it, right? If you build a step on Cardano, there's the nexus.
I'm saying there are some people that propose in Catalyst that don't understand that there's a nexus and just think that it's a funding pool for good work.
Sure. And I think you're right, because I'm thinking too much about the production, integration, and category. I guess if you think about other categories, you're totally right. So then I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to look at the focus of the fund, and that's in the challenges. And if your proposal fits into a challenge, then you're in the right focus place. Go for it. And some people, because the next fund's 4 months away, you might need to adjust your project a little bit to fit in. And there's questions in the community about why we're doing that. And as the project develops, maybe we can look at other solutions, but this is the one we're operating in at the moment for Fund 9, right? So there's opportunity to participate in changing this system. But this is the way the system operates at the moment. But by all means, if you see a way to adjust it, then there's the challenge setting proposals which you can make as well. I'll just mention that you're not limited to one proposal. You can submit many proposals. You can submit a proposal in multiple challenges. You can submit both a proposal for a challenge and a proposal to set a challenge in the future. So you're not limited in that way. All right, I will continue. So I've got Telegram open. I'm just going to quickly close that because it keeps pinging me. I don't even know how to close Telegram. Sorry, guys. I will. How do you close it? Quit Telegram. All right. So the next part of the details that's going to be required is the feasibility. So this is the focus on, do you understand what's necessary to deliver? And do you either have the team or do you know the team that's necessary to deliver? Okay, this is this idea of feasibility. So here we're looking at, mostly about team. I think I forgot to change this to the auditing section. This is more important. Okay, it's questionable. If we look at the actual focus of the questions here, please provide a detailed plan, a timeline, key milestones to deliver your proposal. So this is just kind of outlining the shape of how you're going to deliver it. So if you say you're going to take 3 months or 4 months, what sort of some key steps along the way that you will have in place so that you know that you're on track and that the community knows you're on track. Or if it's a year plan, the time frame is up to you. In here as well, you might put your budget breakdown. So you might be asking for X amount of money, and you might want to add how that money will be distributed amongst people, about like who will take what cut of this. You could break it down into how the time frame you'll spend that, but I haven't seen that a lot. And I guess it depends on the funds that you're asking for. Remember, with all this, it depends kind of how much you're asking for, depends on how much detail you should probably consider how to go in. So keep that in mind. You don't need to write a massive proposal if you're only asking for a small amount of funds. So I will reiterate again the idea of this team members, that you don't necessarily need to have the team in place, although it probably does help to prove that you're feasible. But you might have a really good idea, and in that idea you have a really good idea of the people you will need to deliver, Don't let that stop you from coming to make a proposal. There is also a question. I think this question's been adjusted, so don't worry about that question there. It's basically a tick box in there that if you've been funded, you tick it, and if you're currently funded and working on a proposal, there's something in there, but I haven't seen the final proposal process. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay. Then the next step is the auditability. So the idea as time goes on is that the community kind of wants to check in and see how you're going with the progress of your project. And there's also a question of how do we check in with the successfulness of the outcome of your project. Funding, of course, is tied to the process, and there is no requirement in place to check the outcomes at this point of projects, and it's probably going to be a difficult problem to solve. But just keep in mind that in this section, especially if you're proposing a larger project over a long period of time, you might want to consider adding data points about how you're going to measure the process of your proposal and how you might measure the outcome of your proposal. So yeah, just some questions to ask yourself in this space is how will the community know you're making progress? And there's a monthly report that as a funded proposer, you're required to submit in order to continue your funding. How will the community know the success? And maybe importantly to the success of an experiment is how will you communicate a failure so that other people can learn from your experience. So there's no necessarily requirement for success here. Obviously, most people want to try for success and are reluctant to report failures. But just keep that in mind that if you are running a very experimental process, that you might that there might indeed be a failure in your proposal, and how would you communicate that? These are the actual questions as drafted by the community. What will you measure to track your project's progress, and how will you measure it? What does success for the project look like? Please provide information on whether this proposal is a continuation. That's that question again. Okay. So how do we look at making a quality proposal? There is a CA guide that's available. And as you can see, I'm actually part of AIM. So we've developed the AIM voter tool, which is actually helping voters, but it's actually more useful than that because you can go through and explore previous proposals. So the URL is Cardano Catalyst, and that's with a y.st, and then it's voter-tool, and it will bring you to this site. And here you can actually dig into various previous challenges and look at funded, not funded proposals. And here you can see the rating that the community advisors, which are now being renamed to the proposal assessors, gave the proposals. So you can actually dig in and look for great proposals. So here's one from Wolf Farm Cross-Chain Framework, which was funded, and 7 CAs participated in the reviews. And you can actually go and start to read the review as made by the communities, and the assessment as made by the community, and the review of that assessment, which so the community agreed that this one was good, for instance. Basically, you can use this tool to explore good proposals and find ones that are poor. Let's see if there's any really low ones here that we can have a quick look at. It doesn't see. Oh, yeah, here's one too. So this person asked for 35,000. Here's their problem statement. Here's their solution statement. But the community advisor body felt that this proposal wasn't in line with the cross-chain collaboration.
could you post that link in the chat, please? So
Certainly.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So this can be a very good resource, and there's a lot of information that people spend in informing voters as well as informing the proposer how they might improve their proposal. So this is a great resource that you can use. It goes all the way back to Fund 6 or 5, I think, Fund 4. So you can dig all the way back. The voting information, I think, came in Fund 7. Okay, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested to explore quality proposals. Let's go back to this. Okay, so we're at the very end of, very close to the end of the presentation, the formal presentation. This is just a quick recap and understanding of what happens next after you finish a proposal. So once you've submitted it and adjusted it and had community engagement and it's all done, it goes through that QA process that I mentioned before. There's a community vote, and I've actually made a draft of a video. If you're interested, we can watch that during the Q&A if anyone's interested in actually getting a bit more information about vote, or I can just share the link. And then those that are voted get the funding. And what happens with funding? So here's a bunch of things that happen after funding. So the funding's announced. There's a group called a coordinator, which is all previously funded proposals. There's like a meetup, I think every fortnight of those people to get information about updates for funded proposals. It's a networking event that you can meet other proposals and maybe connect them. IOG offers accelerator programs for funded proposals. I'm not sure where they're up to at the moment, but in the past they've offered those, and I'm sure they'll continue offering those for people that are interested. There's community mentorship programs that are sort of materializing. They're not well formed yet, but there are groups that are working towards that. You're funded on a monthly basis. So keep that in mind when you're making your proposal, that you receive funds every month. There's promotion opportunities at the town hall that you, as a funded proposer, you get access to make a presentation at town hall. And there's monthly reports that you're required to submit to the community.
One question about the timeline of a proposal. How long can it be?
As long as you want.
But then, like, if the funding is once per month, why would a team not say, I will finish up everything in 1 month and you have to give me the whole sum in 1 month, right? I mean, how is that corresponding with their own kind of auditing plan in that sense?
Well, you're responsible to the voters and the community, right? So if you write that, you're probably going to get some feedback from the PAs that they don't think you're going to execute within 1 month. And it looks like maybe you're looking to get the funds up front. And so
no, I get it, but let's say I have my audit plan done for like 3 months, right? And the most money which I will need in the first month, according to the audit plan, then I will need only a little bit money in the second month, and in the third month I need like another bigger portion. So so the audit plan has nothing to do with how the funds are being distributed.
At the moment, not.
Okay.
So that, yeah, I'm informing you that's how it's worked. In the past, they have been somewhat flexible with that, but there were 200-300. I think there's quite a few proposals in the space, and it's still all manually kind of managed at this point. So they will adjust things if you need, and IOG, the ones that are responsible for issuing the funds, you can talk to them about if you have a different payment structure. It is flexible, but difficult, obviously, to do a lot of people.
Right. So the only timeline which you propose in your proposal is the whole project, right? That's on according to the whole entire project. Then you divide it by every month.
Yes. So
okay.
As I said, I haven't seen the budget split so detailed into monthly budgets, but I guess if you did offer a monthly budget and presented that to the community, IOG would be quite happy to follow that budgeting plan if that's the way it goes. So it's a fairly flexible process at the moment, and hopefully these things will eventually be turned into smart contracts so that there can be a flow-on effect. But we're well away from that at the moment. It's still very manual. Okay. And then the last thing is that there's a referral process, and we request that to support the school, if you're happy with the process that you've participated in, if you can add this email address to your proposal, assuming that no one else referred you that you want to send the referral link to, you can help fund us. That if you're funded, we will receive some funds to continue our work if you add this into the process. So that's just a little request from us. And then I'll share these slides, but pretty much you've got a bunch of links here, including the link tree that will get you to various places. So that's the end of the formal presentation. I can open the floor to questions. And I also have this video about voting that we can watch if anyone's interested, or I can just share it.
Phil, what was that email address that you just had there on the screen a second ago? Does that go, you're saying include that in the proposal document itself? Yeah,
there's a, I did not, that links out to the wrong place. So yeah, in the proposal, Cardano Catalyst School at gmail.com. Yep, that looks right, I think. Someone gave me that from the school, so I'm hoping that's the correct one. But basically, there's a referral program in order to encourage people to onboard people as proposers, and there's some funds assigned every fund to dish out to people who are referrers. So we're looking for alternative funding mechanisms outside of continually asking from Catalyst. So we figure if we're adding value, and you guys are successful because of the input that we've given you, then it's the process is there to share some funds with us. It doesn't take away from your proposal. There are funds assigned to referrals beyond your funding request. Yes, you've got a question there.
So yeah, two questions. First of all, there's for every specific challenge, there's a Telegram group, right? Where also the specific proposal assessors who are connected to this challenge are in, right? Is that correct?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
So there's a challenge team. So okay. Let me just, yeah. I'll open. Is this in the way? Can people see this window or not?
Well, we can see it, yeah.
You can see me. I've got my, anyway, I'll just put it there. That's fine. So because these each, hang on a second. Because each of these was proposed by someone in the community, they're then given the opportunity to build a team to be responsible for the challenge, not necessarily to assist and onboard proposers into that challenge, which used to be a task that IOG managed, but now because it's so large, that task is now got community involvement. So they're called CTs or challenge teams, and I believe there are various, and it's kind of up to the challenge team to operate how they wish. They're independently, and there's some guidelines for them to follow, but whether they run a regular meeting and pre-funding meetings, discussions, that's all up to the individual challenge team for each individual challenge. So you might find one's very active and one's not active at all.
And I will see that on the challenge when I press a button on, let's say, demonstrating and monetizing impact, and then I will see where I could find the team or who's like responsible or something.
Not at the moment, I think. Maybe there is some information there. I think it's over here. Yeah, it could be here.
Right.
But I'm not. No, that's not it.
I think there was up there was team. No, if you go the whole page up. up. There was a team button
Oh, yes.
about, yeah.
No, that's Catalyst in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think any of that information is currently available.
Right.
We are kind of limited by the platform. So, I mean, that would be great if that was there, but I think it's
Sure.
kind of limited on how they can engage and how it is to engage with this platform.
I think some of the categories actually have the team in the category itself.
Okay. Yeah. So, as I said, it's definitely manually heavy engagement. So some will have, some won't have. Yeah.
All right.
You'd have to just look around.
Right. So coming to my second question about the assessments being like basically, so I upload now my proposal, right? And then we have those 3 or 4 phases, right? And will I, after every phase, I will get some feedback from who? The challenge team or the proposal assessors or anybody from the community who just read through my challenge and then will give a comment about this?
So the way it works is you currently have the 3 weeks, and you can promote your proposal and engage with the community and ask for people to read it and give you feedback. That's up to you how you participate. And then once it closes and it's closed for editing, there have been discussions about, well, that seems crazy that there's then feedback and then I can't edit it and this types of things. It's just the way the system is currently designed. We can work towards a new solution, but it is difficult. And I've been in this space for some time trying to work towards new solutions. It takes a long time to get there. See, at the moment we submit on idea scale, but personally, I believe that for this to be a properly distributed system, we need other proposal mechanisms and other systems to review and address and engage, but we're not there at the moment. I hope we get there. I'm working personally to get there, and I hope you guys can help how you want and how you can. But this is the system we're operating in Fund 9. So
sure, I get it. So basically, what that means, right? It can happen that people in the community they write a comment, they say, "Oh, this is good," or give some feedback. You included feedback, and then even the challenge team maybe looks at it and says, "Oh, yeah, perfect." But then editing closes on the end of June, I think, for this fund, right? And then maybe you get an assessment from the proposal assessors, which is totally bad, and then you have no chance at all again to do anything. Right?
You have no chance to change it at that point. But the idea is that there's another fund starting in 4 months so that you could resubmit and re-change and adjust and feedback in. I guess as the timeframes have expanded out to 4 months now, it's getting quite long. I mean, it used to be 3 months. So I think that was quite a short time. 4 months is kind of getting on a bit longer side, but there's still another funding opportunity 4 months down the track. So it's not ideal because it takes quite a lot of time to engage as a proposer. But that's just kind of the way that the system works at the moment. I'll just quickly point out that the root of that voter tool is a community landing page with various resources. Some of them are not up to date as much as they should be. This is actually a site that I worked on and got funding for in a previous fund, and we're currently working towards making this more community engaged. But there is actually a timeline. If you look at funds, this will tell you the timeline in which to the proposal timeline. So we're now currently in this submit draft, and these are the times, the flow of the times. So I'll share that in the link. Ben, you've got a question there.
Yeah, just a quick one, Phil. To go back to the page you showed us previously, I see there's a countdown there, 6 or so days left. Does that mean that submit button will lock at a certain point?
It used to, but now it'll be open for submit, refine, and finalize.
Okay, yeah, as you were saying earlier, right? Sorry,
yes.
It just threw me that countdown.
That's
there.
okay. I think you know, it's kind of an experiment whether this, I think it only happened last fund and it seemed to be more useful, because actually this is what happens quite a lot. People go and dump a lot of placeholders or to be decided. And part of this was to maybe stop that from happening, because you only had 6 days to say that you wanted to submit a proposal. People are obviously, these people have probably been around for some time, so they're still participating in that way. But the idea is that it's a 3-week process now and it's all put together in one lump, basically. So
Okay.
there's no
Clearing that.
extra stages. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Really, no questions?
I have another question, Phil.
Go ahead. Ben.
It's more to do with the marketing of proposals, because of course, I mean, having a good proposal is one thing, but getting people to vote for it is another. Have you seen any good examples of proposers actively, let's say, marketing, for want of a better word, their proposal to the community to encourage votes?
If you look on the voter tool, there is an event held by the Swarm called Ideas Fest. I think it happens after the submissions are closed, so that they're all like completed proposals. But that's an opportunity to, I think it went over 2 weekends, so two days, one on each weekend. And that gave people an opportunity to actually come and present their proposals. And then they're recorded and actually added into this tool. I can't tell if there's any, all the people that participated actually got their media added to this. And then so that's one way to promote. There's not a lot of good ways to promote directly to the voters, because the voter body is kind of this ephemeral, unknown group. So there's kind of this Catalyst group that's here that you're now involved with, that's proposing and participating and working on the governance side. And then there's ADA holders that vote, and some of them don't even know they can vote, and some of them only come and participate with Catalyst when the vote happens. If you can work out a way how to reach them, I'm sure there's lots of other proposers that would be very keen to do the same thing. But
I was hoping you had some good ideas.
Not really, other than
enough.
Ideas Fest and participating in town halls, after town halls, that there's a place and time you can host your own after town hall and like engage the community that's present. But we get 150 people attending those, so it's I think we're still in very early stage. This is only Fund 9 and it's been running for 1.5 years. And there's still a lot of systems that need to be put in place to accept a large influx. But I think Charles the other day on the opening town hall last week mentioned that he hopes that it's going to have a massive acceleration this year, which means maybe they will do a big push when they feel the time is right. So,
okay, cool.
But of course, engaging with your community or participating in other people's communities and engaging in that way is a good way to do this. And sometimes I run after town hall mini Ideas Fest, which just gives you a platform to come and discuss your proposal and participate with the people that are there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Go ahead. You got another question there?
Sure. About the voting, not having voted before. So let's say I have 10K ADA, right? That means I can use those 10K. Those give me like 10,000 votes, and then I can separate this within each category, with each challenge, right? And so let's say for the debt challenge, I can use my 10K votes, and then for the Grow Africa, I can use that, and then for the other, right? Or do I have to split it among the whole Catalyst? No,
it's even more complicated than that. I will, if people don't mind, I can play this video. It was a draft, but it's explanatory. It's a year old now, so just keep that in mind. It's 2.5 minutes long. Any objections to playing this? No? Okay. Can,
everyone. Welcome
can
to
you
the
hear that?
first installment of Cardano AIM Project Catalyst Education
Sorry, can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
series. In this episode, Cardano voting explained. Voting is done in Catalyst by holders of ADA that meet a certain threshold. This threshold will slowly be decreased over time as improvements are made. In order to vote, you will register your intention to do so. Registering does not affect staking in any way. This can be done through your Cardano wallet, currently Deadlist, Euro, ADA Lite, and via the CLI. Additional ways may be added when available. The usual Cardano transaction fee applies to voter registration. This is a fraction of an ADA. This is necessary to prevent attacks on the system. The amount of ADA your wallet held at a specific point in time, known as the snapshot, will equal the voting power you wield with that wallet. Once registered, there is a voting period. During this period, you will use the official IOHK dedicated voting app available in the App and Play stores. Voting in Catalyst uses the concept of voting power of ADA. When you choose to vote on an issue or proposal, you can choose to either vote for or against or abstain. Voting for assigns all your voting power in the positive for that proposal, and voting against will do the opposite and assign all your voting power in the negative. Voting to abstain will have a neutral effect on the proposal's effects. Choosing not to vote will also assign your vote to the abstain. Your voting power is always available to vote on each proposal. The results of a specific vote on a proposal will be the tally of the sum of all positive votes from all voters minus the sum of all negative votes. The sum gives you an outcome of for or against the proposal. Currently, there is a minimum threshold of 15% or greater for than against for the proposal to be successful. Here's an example of voting results in a simplified system. You and I and a third party hold equal voting power of 100 ADA each for a total of 300 ADA. You and I vote in the affirmative and the third party votes in the negative. A total of 200 ADA's worth of voting power is recorded for and 100 against. The net result is 100 positive. Thank you very much for your time and join us in future AIM projects.
All right. So,
hello everyone.
Oops.
Welcome to this first installment of Cardano.
What that means is that you actually vote with all your voting power on every proposal. So if you've got 10,000, you get 10,000 either for or against for that proposal. And you're adding that to the sum of other people's for or against. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, Ryan's just mentioned. Yeah, Ryan's just mentioning the concept of the DREPs, which should help voter turnout and participation. That means that you can assign your voting power to a community member that is going to spend more time exploring votes. So this is a new experiment, this fund. So hopefully we might see an increase in voter participation through representatives rather than direct voting. So this will be an interesting experiment, I think. Anyone else got any questions? I'm assuming it was very well explained then if no one's got questions. I will mention that it seems to be open now. There seems to be people putting proposals, so you're free to start making your proposals for sure.
Phil, where can we get a hold of the slideshow that you just gave us?
I will give me a second. I'll just make it not editable, I think, and then I can send, or I can send.
That would be great. Very useful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I can send you a PDF as well. Maybe that's
yeah,
useful.
Good.
Okay, hang on. I will just download a PDF. I'm not sure. Can I link? Yeah, I can link here. So let's do that. while I'm doing this, anyone else want to pop open a question? No? Okay. Okay, well, I might just stop the recording there. And you can ask the question off recording maybe. So let's stop share.
Phil,
Yes.
this is Gabriel. Question for me is how detailed do we need to make the initial proposal submission in order to get feedback? Should it be our kind of best effort, or should it be more like testing the waters with an overall concept?
That's kind of up to you, really. I mean, it's a I guess the more information, the more feedback you can get, I would say, from my point of view. But of course, if you just want some quick general feedback, you could do that too. It's
Okay.
There's no set way to participate. I will just send you a link to the. I'll send you a link to the. This is the general Discord for the Project Catalyst. So you can ask questions there, and that might be a good place to like get focused off on different places as well. Did people get the slides there? Did they work?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
One more question also regarding the past, maybe. Have there ever been some kind of conflicts as somebody put up some idea, and then 2 days later, 3 days later, some other group copied kind of the same idea and then put it up too, and then like, is there gonna be a timestamp somewhere when you say, oh, I put up this idea earlier and all that? Because now I think with the bigger time window of like 1 month almost, the potential of this is a little bit more than before. It was like just a week always open, right?
That is a very interesting point. We did explore conflict resolution in another context last fund. We haven't, as far as I know, come up against any proposers claiming another proposer's copying their idea. That hasn't come up yet. Good point. It probably will come up at some point. I guess the culture of the community is such that it's collaborative, competitive, but non-combative, I can't remember the word, but the interesting thing is that multiple solutions, each team will have their own solution. So the idea, as far as I'm concerned, is that you don't own the problem, you own your implementation of a solution. So if you keep that in mind, that someone else is going to be in another location with a different group of people in a different market, it's probably fine that people are proposing similar proposals to the same sort of problem.
Well, but on the other hand, it's also kind of a guiding rule that then those kind of, I don't know, community challenge team members or proposer assessors kind of tell them to work together, right, and combine their proposal, right? That's also,
again, there's no requirement for that.
Oh, okay.
I've had proposals that I've ended up working with people, and I've had proposals where we discussed to join them, but we disagreed on certain elements, so we went off and proposed our own solutions. Cool. So we're all people here. We're all kind of just engaging how we can. If we're all participating in good faith with each other, I think that's probably just the best idea. We do know that some people don't do that. So when the problem arises, that's probably when the solution is going to be needed to be developed as well. So at some point it's going to happen, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Ben, you got another question there?
Yes. So after the voting has happened, and within a particular challenge, it'll be clear which of the proposals have the, let's say, net positive kind of approved status. Yep. Are all of those automatically funded?
No, good question.
The ones that got the most votes will be funded.
I'll just share my screen again. Inside that website that I shared earlier, the root of this one, at the moment it's in statistics, official statistics. There's a bunch of results. I need to fix this link, but this is the Fund 8. Sorry, I don't have the Fund 8 here yet, but it should be. This is the vote for Fund 7. So it tells at the top, it tells you the ones that were voted on with the votes yes, no, and the finished results. Gives data about the total unique wallets that voted. And then down below here, it shows the process. So yeah, very good question, because this is quite important for working out the budget. If you look here inside the AI and Singularity Net challenge for 500,000, the most voted, which is this one, so the voting results. So it had the most sum, right? So yes votes minus no votes equals the vote result. They had a budget of 120,000. That comes off the available funds and leaves remaining 380. And that process continues until it hits the point where there's 27,000, but this next one that's the next most popular or next most voted asked for 35,000, therefore not funded, because there was only 27,000 funds available. So it then jumps to the next most voted with one that fits in budget, which was 99900, leaving 17,000. And then all of these proposals were voted positive, but not enough funds available. Therefore, it went down to this one here, where 16,000 was asked, 17 was available, 1,000 left. The rest of them were all out of budget, all the way to the point where this one was not approved because the vote was not large enough. So it's complicated. It's easy to kind of get your head around once you see it, but there is a complicated mechanism that was, I believe there's probably some IOG paper that explains why it's done like this. But it does hurt when you're like, if you're this proposer, right? Because you got voted, you were popular, but you weren't quite popular enough to tap the funds because there were a few more popular than you. So it's very important when you apply for your budget that you apply for the budget that you need. So don't over budget, don't under budget. Make sure that you can execute on the budget that you're asking for, but don't ask for too much, because you might just miss out by even $1, let's say. Does that answer your question? Was it Ben, I think?
Yes, that answers it perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Just another point, I think, and I just need to double check because it wasn't quite clear. The most recent, yeah, there's going to be a weird, complicated thing. So in the last fund, there was a total of $16 million worth of ADA available. And this fund, although this is, maybe it's not this fund, it might be the next one, but it's complicated. They changed the denomination to be an ADA for the total fund. So there's 16 million in ADA available, or $16 million if the price of ADA shoots right up over the dollar again. Maybe that's a bit complicated to explain because it's not well understood by myself or many people at the moment. And it's still written here as being dollars in ADA. So it's probably next fund that this is happening. So just keep in mind that the total budget of the overall fund is being adjusted to not be quite as high as this. So I probably didn't explain that very well and probably just confused you guys a bit more, but just keep that in mind that there's some changes happening in that space. any questions more? Okay. Well, I think at that point we can finish up. So I thank you very much for coming and attending the session, the workshop, and thank you very much. If you're interested in other roles, keep an eye out for other school sessions with other people explaining those roles in more detail. And good luck, and you can find me, Phil K, around on that server, the Discord server that I shared, or on the Telegram servers. So feel free to reach out if you do have questions to me or other people in the community. We're very welcoming and can help you, point you in the right direction. Thank you very much for coming, and good luck in your proposals.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Phil. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.